Welcome to the digital classes. Today we are going to observe few things about animals. Here in this picture we are able to see different wild animals which we see in the zoo. We can't go to the forest and we can't see these wild animals, but they are found mostly in the zoo. You can see lion, tiger, hippopotamus, chimpanzee, different wild animals. You can see all these wild animals with your naked eye. These are all the domestic animals which we find around our house in our colony. We can see cats, dogs, buffaloes, rabbits, goats, ducks, etc. We can see all these domestic animals with our naked eye. Now, you can see all the sea animals in your aquariums also, like small snails, starfishes can be seen, big whale can be seen in the sea. So these are all the huge animals which are called as macroorganisms because they are all seen by our naked eye because of their different sizes and shapes. What about the organisms which we can't see with our naked eye? They are called as microorganisms. They are so minute that we cannot see them with our naked eye. Then how can we know whether they are present or not? How can we see their sizes and shapes? With the help of a microscope. In this picture you can see a compound microscope. This compound microscope can magnify the small minute microorganism to around 40 times and 80 times. Then what about the electron microscope? This electron microscope can magnify the small microorganism up to 10,000 times to 1 lakh times also. So these microscopes help us to find out the different microorganisms present in and around us. So microorganisms, let us define them. Living organisms having more than one cells are actually called as multicellular organisms, like we have seen the pictures of domestic animals and wild animals. Even sea animals, they all are multicellular organisms. The basic life processes in multicellular organisms are carried out by different types of cells. They have different organs and different systems, like they have reproductive system, excretory system, respiratory system and digestive system for carrying out different types of functions. Then the living organisms which have only one cell, they are called as unicellular organisms. They have only one cell. In these cells, the single cell is capable of performing all the life processes like obtaining food, respiration, excretion, growth and reproduction. So, welcome to the world of microorganisms. Around us we cannot see, but there are so many microorganisms. So, microorganisms are so minute that they are found everywhere. They are found like this. They are so small. They are found in the water bodies. In the water they can survive. They are found in the soil. They can survive in the soil. They can also be seen on our skin. So they can survive in any part and organ of the animal bodies of any animal, not only wild animals or domestic animals. They can be seen in and on the animal bodies. So the microbiology is the study of microscopic organisms such as bacteria, virus, algae, fungi and protozoa. These are all the minute microorganisms and their study is particularly called as microbiology. What are the types of microorganisms? We find mostly protozoans, fungi, algae, microarthropods, bacteria and virus. In this session, we will be studying about protozoans. Different pictures we will be seeing about protozoans, different types of fungi, different algae, microarthropods, bacteria and virus. Now, Antony von Leeuwenhoek was the first scientist. He was a great microbiologist and father of the microbiology, who was the first person to observe the microorganisms in the microscope by magnifying their image in the microscope made by himself. This is the microscope made by himself. He magnified the small tiny microorganisms and observed their images. So the first type of microorganisms what we are going to study is protozoans. Protozoans, they are found in the water, in our human bodies and even in the soil. So these are the different protozoans we can find everywhere in our surroundings. The first protozoan we are going to study is about Chlamydomonas. This is how we see the Chlamydomonas in the microscope. They are so minute, moving here and there, like this you can see under the microscope. And if a single Chlamydomonas is magnified and observed, this is the way we can see under the microscope. It has only two parts. It moves with the help of flagella. Now the next protozoa what we are going to study is about Verticella. Verticella is a minute microorganism which belongs to protozoa, and it can be seen like this under the microscope. You can see tiny Verticella here in this picture. Very common protozoa which everybody knows is amoeba. This is the artistic picture with the parts seen about amoeba. Now here you can see that it has only one single cell. It moves only with the pseudopodia, the false food, and it has a contractile vacuole and a nucleus at the center. These are the three main parts of amoeba. This is the way you can see under the microscope. It does not have any particular shape. It keeps moving here and there with the help of the false food called as pseudopodia. The next microorganism belonging to protozoa is Paramecium. Under the microscope, you can see such slipper animalcule. It is in the form of a slipper, as you can see here. So it is an animal which is having a shape of a slipper, so it is called a slipper animalcule. It is Paramecium, and if we see the parts are, it has cilia around the body for helping locomotion. It has a food vacuole, it has a nucleus, macronucleus and micronucleus, and it has a contractile vacuole. These are the main parts of Paramecium. Now let us go to the next type of microorganisms, that is fungi. Fungi. You might have seen such type of mushrooms growing on the dead plants or the plants which have been used as fuel, the wood which is used as fuel. So they are scavengers. They keep growing on the logs of the plants which are kept away. Now fungus is also found in our house. Where do we see fungus? We see this fungus in the damp conditions. We see on the rotten food materials. We see fungus on the rotten bread, on the rotten vegetables, or the tiffin boxes. If you forget to clean them, then fungus can grow even there. In your classrooms also, if you do not keep your surroundings clean, even on the benches, even on the wood doors and windows also you can see the formation of fungus. Then actually, what is bread mold? Bread mold is grown on the bread. If you buy the bread and keep it outside the fridge or inside the fridge for after the expiry date, you can see a growth of dark color or yellow color particles here. They are nothing but the fungus. You can see the fungus formation here on the bread. Now, mushrooms also belong to the fungus family. Now, here you can see these mushrooms growing on the damp areas. Now, here this fungus is also eatable. We eat different types of fungus. There are two types of fungus. Eatable fungus. You can eat some mushrooms, but not all mushrooms. Few mushrooms are poisonous also. Now, what are the uses of fungus? Fungus are used in making some food items like cheese and in alcoholic beverages, etc. Some fungus are used to make antibiotics like penicillium. So, some microorganisms are really useful to us and some microorganisms are very harmful to us. So, the next type of microorganism we are going to study is algae. They are really useful to us. How are they useful? We will be studying about it. Now, you can see that this is a water body. In the nearby pond and pool, you can see such green patches forming on the surface of the water bodies. What is this? This is algae. You can see such green color formation even on the damp walls, even near the areas where they keep on getting wet, near your washrooms or in the balconies. You can see green color patches forming and they are nothing but algae. If this algae is seen under the microscope, the first type of algae we are going to study is Spirogyra. If you collect this algae and observe it under the microscope, you can see filament-like structures like this. This is the first type of algae we are going to study. This Spirogyra is a type of algae grown in the water bodies. The next type of algae is Spirulina. Now, this Spirulina is also found near the water bodies. This, when seen under the microscope, is seen like this, seen like filaments. This is also one type of Serratium. This is the way we can observe it under the microscope. These are the different images of Serratium. Now, the next type of algae we are going to study is Yadagiri. This is also green color patches seen on the water bodies, and if you collect few and observe it under the microscope, you can see such filament type structures under the microscope. Now, the next type of microorganisms we are going to study is about microarthropods. Children, being a science teacher, I should tell you that we need to maintain hygienic conditions, not only in the surroundings, on your body, but even on the bed sheets what you are using, on the towels what you are using. Because these microarthropods, they are found in the soil, on the blankets, bed sheets you use, and these, they enter in your bodies through your skin and even through your fingertips. If you don't wash your hands and use the same hands for eating, these microarthropods can go into your eyes and cause infections. There are some microarthropods like Cyclops, Daphnia, scabies mites, eyelash mites, etc. Microarthropods. So, where do we find these microarthropods? They are found everywhere around our surroundings, like the things you use, your old textbooks which are kept not used in your school, at your home, the old bags what you used to bring to the school, when they are not touched and washed for many days, even in them also you can see microarthropods. The bed sheets what you use have to be washed, and after that, after washing, you have to put it in the Dettol and keep them clean, let them dry, and then only you use it. Keep an extra bed sheets, use clean blankets and clean bed sheets, so that these microarthropods will not harm you, so that these microarthropods will not cause a particular different types of allergies. So, these microarthropods can enter our skin through different body parts. They can even enter eyelids, they can enter our nose, they can cause skin diseases also. They can cause different types of rashes. So the best thing what we have to do is to maintain hygienic conditions. The dresses what you wear, the bags what you use, the blankets and the bed sheets what you use have to be rinsed properly. Even in the pillow covers also have to be washed every week, and you have to sanitize them using Dettol, dry them properly and then use it. So the bags, the shoes, the socks, whatever you use, you have to sanitize them properly so that you are keeping yourself safe away from the diseases caused by these micro-arthropods. You don't know where they are present, so you have to keep yourself safe from these diseases. The only best thing what you have to follow is hygienic conditions. In and around yourself, your body has to be neat, your body has to be clean, not only your clothes, your surrounding things also, from your bags, books, bed sheets, all have to be rinsed well, sanitized well, and then properly you have to use them so that you are safe from these different types of diseases. Now, the first microarthropod is Cyclops. This is so small, it has so many legs, and that is why it is called as arthropod. It is very minute, and that is why it is called as microarthropod. The next one is Daphnia. If you observe, these are the locomotory organs, legs, but it is so small, and that is why it is called as microarthropod. The name of this microorganism is Daphnia. Now, this is a mite. You might have heard about mites. These mites are found on our skin. They cause itching, they cause allergies also. These scabies mites, they can cause infection on your skin. So keep your bodies and your surroundings neat. Maintain hygiene. Now, we are studying about microorganisms, but how do we actually know that really they exist? So there is a procedure of observing these microorganisms under the microscope. So how to see the microorganisms? Microscopic life can be found in pools, ponds, lakes, streams, rivers, ocean backwater, estuaries, in the rivers, backwaters, etc. So a great place to find mainly protozoans and tiny water animals is in the freshwater fish tank. You might be having fish tanks at your home. So if you use fresh water to grow your fishes, then you can find protozoans even in them also. If you take the dry leaves, dry saw, and soak it in the water and let it be for 2-3 days and collect the water and observe it under the microscope, you can observe few protozoans under the microscope. So we can take the samples from the water bodies and observe it under microscope. Microbes include not only protozoans, children, the very minute microorganisms like bacteria, bacteria-like organisms also like algae, viruses also. Now you can collect the water from greenish water pond. This is an activity given in a textbook. So where do we have to collect the water? You can collect it from greenish water pond or freshwater pond. Freshwater pond, it looks so fresh, surrounded with so much of greenery, but even in this also you can find minute microorganisms which you can observe it only under the microscope but not with the naked eye. So you need a microscope to observe the microorganisms present even in this freshwater pond. Then you can see bacteria, protozoa, algae, etc. in these waters. Now let us study about bacteria. Observing bacteria in the curd. Curd is the food item what we eat. Curd has bacteria. Yes, curd has bacteria. So you can observe small white patches here. This is a curd observed under the microscope. The small minute things what you are observing here is nothing but the lactobacillus bacteria present in the curd. This is lactobacillus bacteria. So this bacteria we eat it. Yes, bacteria are of two types: friendly bacteria and good bacteria and harmful bacteria. Good bacteria is very useful for our digestion process. The food what we eat is digested properly and excreted properly only with the helpful bacteria present in our intestine. Then what about the harmful bacteria? Yes, harmful bacteria causes many diseases. So we have to be very careful with these different harmful bacteria. Now the next very important topic is virus. So viruses are so minute, they are not living things. They are so minute that we cannot use a compound microscope for observing it. They are very harmful, they just enter our body and become live. They are non-living thing, but when they enter into our gut or respiratory organs, they have a particular DNA and RNA, a small life-giving thing which enters into our body and becomes lively. So small viruses are so harmful that they cause diseases like smallpox virus. You can see this girl suffering with so many rashes on the skin. This is caused due to the smallpox virus. This is the smallpox virus. Now this has been totally eradicated from the world by the help of a vaccine. But when it was there, many people suffered a lot because of the smallpox virus. Now the next virus which has been completely eradicated from our country with the help of the government and the people is polio virus. This virus, this is a polio virus. This actually attacks the spinal cord and it disables the locomotory system of the human body. When it attacks the spinal cord, the limbs are not completely developed and the person affected with this polio virus cannot move. It loses the bones loses strength. So how was it eradicated completely? It was eradicated completely with the help of vaccines. Vaccines were given in the form of polio drops, and then the small babies, they were saved from this polio, deadly polio virus. The next type of virus we suffered last few years back, it was swine flu virus. This is a swine flu virus. Swine means pig. This is a flu which is caused due to virus coming from the swine. The most common symptom of this swine flu was cold and cough. This mainly was seen in near the areas where more pigs were there. And the most important thing we have to take care is to protect ourselves from swine flu is not allowing the virus to enter our respiratory organs. So now we are all safe by this swine flu virus. But the most deadly virus now we all are suffering is coronavirus. So this coronavirus causes COVID-19 disease. So coronavirus causes a disease named COVID-19. Coronavirus infected disease which came in 2019, and so this disease was named as COVID-19. So this coronavirus, it cannot move. It is a non-living thing, but when it comes into contact of the respiratory organ, starting from the throat, when it goes through the windpipe into the lungs, then we can see that it starts infecting the alveoli of our lungs. The symptoms of COVID-19 are, most of them, they get confused with normal flu, normal cold and cough with the COVID-19. So coronavirus disease 2019 has many different types of symptoms which are similar to that of flu and cold. So don't get confused. You will get fever with fatigue nature. Your respiratory organs will get affected because, as I told you, coronavirus attacks lungs. You will start getting dry cough and shortness of breath with a sore throat, running nose and sneezes. So even in some patients, the circulatory systems and the excretory system also get affected. So the most common symptoms seen in COVID-19 are fever, fatigue, starting from a dry cough, shortness of breath. The total lungs get affected a lot, and thus the patient becomes fatigued, he will fall short of breath, suffocative. So we have to take care that the precautions to be taken during this COVID-19 are, you have to wear a mask. This COVID-19 virus, coronavirus, spread mainly when a person suffering from COVID-19 comes into contact with the healthy person. Then how a healthy person should save himself? By wearing a mask and by using sanitizers or hand washes. It is non-living thing. It only spreads through the surfaces. So whenever you touch a surface, you have to take care that your hands are not touching your nose, your hands are not touching your eyes, and then you can protect yourself from the coronavirus. So be protected, be safe, wash your hands regularly every 15 minutes using any kind of soap or use a sanitizer to clean your hands. If you are going into a public places or a group gatherings, protect yourself by wearing a mask or a face mask and wearing a gloves. So this is the way you can protect from coronavirus. And the most important thing is stay home, stay safe. Don't go to any gatherings. Let us now recollect what we have learnt in this lesson. The organisms which we cannot be seen by our naked eyes are called as microorganisms. Then how are we able to see them? We need a microscope to see them. What are the different types of microorganisms? Bacteria, fungi, algae, protozoans, viruses. There are two types of microorganisms: friendly microorganisms, harmful microorganisms. How are we going to protect ourselves from these microorganisms? We have to maintain hygienic conditions. You have to be clean. You have to be safe. Now let us test what we have learnt in this lesson. If you want to improve your learning, let us solve these questions. Write a list of diseases caused by protozoans. Write a list of harmful microorganisms. By harmful microorganisms means the microorganisms which cause diseases. Collect information and images of microorganisms and make a note of it. Children, this was about the questions what you are going to solve by listening to the lesson. Now, worksheets related to this lesson are being downloaded in the SCERT website for better learning, and please practice them.